Salah, for me, the fact that he is maybe the best player in the world at the moment. I think he's better than Mbappe, in my opinion. I'd take him over Mbappe right now. I think he's probably the best player in the world, right?
I think it's between him and Benzema.
But exactly. So, but as a total forward, I think Salah probably takes the ball better than Benzema. Maybe not as good a finisher, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's at the top, the pinnacle of football. Football's in a poor state, and we're in a bit of a sort of, you know,
really
canyon of, you know, we're sort of falling off a cliff a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I don't know.
So you're saying, distribution-wise, Trent is not on De Bruyne's level? Because that's the point I was making. Not as a player, because Trent, I wouldn't want Trent.
No, because you've got to have it with the caveat that anyone playing at right back has an extra 5-10 yards of space. You know, I could give you the ball and put you right at the back of the room. You have so much time before anyone presses you. You could do anything. Anyone's David Beckham when they got 20 minutes of, you know, time.
I don't think anyone's Trent Alexander.
No, but
I can't see it. And
that's fair, and that's right. That's justified.
I'm not writing off that, oh, this is a Liverpool dub. Because again, you can't ignore that we haven't beaten you under Guardiola at the Etihad. But at the same time, this is the time. We've stepped up this year. All of these, I think, form-wise, we've probably won the last 10 games, I believe.
Something like that.
Our form is 100%. Unbelievable. But I think at the same time, City is City. So I guess it's time, right?
Yes, big game.
Biggest game of the season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it is. It's huge. Are you nervous? How are you feeling?
Do you know what? If it was at Anfield, I'd be a little bit more confident. But going to the Etihad, of course, you can't ignore that we haven't won there under Pep. You just can't ignore it. But if there's ever a time to break that.
Yeah, look, I think ultimately when both sides play the way, you know, we both want to play, you know, if Klopp's playing to A+ level, if City's playing to an A+ level, we should be beating you 9 times out of 10, really. I prefer the way we play. I think it was more about...
9 out of 10?
9 out of 10. I think you're a top side. But we've seen it in the big games where it's really mattered. Like the Champions League was tough because, you know, we were going for the Premier League. Obviously, you didn't win the Champions League that season. So you beat us at Anfield, fair enough. But in those big games where we actually needed to beat you to win the Premier League, we've done it. You know, we've not lost those games. You know, you won the Premier League for, you know, one time in 31 years. All right. I get behind closed doors, so I don't really count that. But with fans, you know, arguably the highest quality game I've ever seen in the Premier League is the 2-1. Sane, Aguero,
off the inside of the post.
Mina. Yeah, of course.
And we hit the post at the start.
But that standard was unbelievable. And I'm not saying you were shit or anything like that. You were amazing.
Just imagine you were. Do you know what? I think you're not lying in terms of at that time, even though we were considered the 2 best teams in the league, I think you were just that step ahead of us because, again, you had a killer up front. I think that was the difference. Obviously, we had our cohesive front three. We had Salah, we had Mane doing their thing. But I think with your style of play and a killer to finish off those chances in Aguero, that was the difference for me. He was always the difference. And I think Sane, in his shining form, was highly... I don't want to say unappreciated. I think that's a bit rude to say unappreciated, but the way he sort of left, I don't think you replaced Sane.
No, you're right.
Since
he wasn't. I think you're completely right in how you said it. I think you're right in the sense that he was appreciated by fans, like even by rival fans. I'm sure Liverpool fans agree.
Oh, honestly,
but he wasn't appreciated by Pep. And you know, the hundreds of times I went up to see City, you know, home or away, I usually be on the side of, obviously you're usually on the side, aren't you? So you hear what managers say to fullbacks or wingers, you know, one half at a time sort of thing. And the amount of abuse Sane used to get from Guardiola, you know, sort of tactical kind of sort of being shouted at for tactical reasons. It was very interesting compared to Raheem Sterling in the second half, for example, when they flipped over. So we miss that. We miss a bit of raw pace. We miss a bit of individual brilliance. But you know, we've seen it in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid as a cohesive midfield of Bernardo, Phil Foden, Grealish, Gundogan, Rodri. That for me should be enough to keep the ball and break your press and hopefully score a few past you. Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. I think just alluding to the the Sane Sterling thing. I think Sterling went through the hard graft. You know, those first 2 years when he did turn up at City. Obviously, I'm a big Sterling fan, so once he made the move, I was still watching him very closely. I think Sterling, the difference between Sterling and Sane is that maybe he had that little bit more grit and determination, just in terms of listening and not maybe playing to your style, but playing to someone else's style and then adapting, of course, and making yourself a better player. I think Sane, you could argue, is probably a little bit more talented than Sterling.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
and I think unfortunately sometimes I don't want to say Sane thought he was too good because I don't want to put that out there, but I think sometimes players are willing to adapt.
Yeah, it's the guy's from Germany as well, so it's obviously you got the card to go back to Bayern Munich. You're going to do it, aren't you? But
his English is pretty good. I mean, I don't know. His son is pretty good.
I still think though it's one of them. It's like Luis Suarez did not enjoy playing for Liverpool, but when Barcelona come calling, you have to.
I wouldn't say he didn't enjoy playing for Liverpool. I think it was just a bit difficult at times because he was the one carrying the team, along with maybe a few good players, a few of the better players like Gerrard, Sturridge, and Coutinho, and stuff, and Sterling, arguably at the time.
Of course.
But just in terms of the game, you said something about keeping the ball and not a comfortable win, but just getting the result. I don't think it's going to be that type of game because I think this time we have to take the game to you. We go and draw this game and you guys still stay a point ahead of us. So it's more of a must. We need to win. You want to win.
Yeah, of course.
I think does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We've been playing against low blocks now for about the last 15 games, including unfortunately Arsenal, who you thought might come up against us and try and play. But
you hope so with Arsenal.
You hope, but
can't even do it against Palace, can they?
Probably.
Can't even do it against Palace, can they? Arsenal never bat them to get results.
Well, yeah, I made a comment saying that some Arsenal fans, let me say some or a lot of, I don't know whatever you want to say, some Arsenal fans, they do sometimes forget what it's like to be a big club. So when you give them big club criticism, they tend to go, "Oh, we're in a process."
They get aggy.
We're in a process.
They're toxic fans, but
So, but listen, enough about them. Just in terms of playing, I feel like you're the first team who's going to come out and play against us, and that is when I think we look more dangerous.
Of course,
we got the sting in our attack. I think obviously Mo Salah's in the worst form he is of the season, which is great for you. But I think if there's any time to turn it back on, which is why I think he started yesterday in the Champions League, I think this is the time. Because for Liverpool, when we do play against that low block, when the likes of Thiago isn't playing and KR isn't really doing it, well, if he's fit, which isn't probably never, barely, but when we don't have Thiago, we find it a lot harder to break down low blocks. We still break them down because we've been winning 1-0. We've had a lot of dirty, we've had a lot of Chelsea-esque wins in the last 10 games.
100%.
I'd probably say about 7 out of 10 of them have been quite scruffy, But again, it's business end of the season. It doesn't matter. I personally don't care.
No,
but against you, against Manchester City, this is where you have to, you can't do that. You can't play an autopilot and win the game.
No, of course not.
You know what I'm saying?
I think City have to treat Liverpool with so much respect, and the big thing is it is that pace on the counter attack. You probably are the best counter attacking side in world football,
and it's not even our style. That's not even our
exactly.
On
your day against anyone below you in the table, we're the only side that you're going to come is better than you. I think you are the second best team in Europe. I think even against Bayern Munich, I think you get on the ball and keep the ball better than them. I really do. As an example of the side of Real Madrid or whoever it is. Obviously in the Champions League last night, you did really well as well. So. But against City, it's going to be very, very interesting because I think we're going to aim to keep so much of the ball.
It's a game of chess, isn't it? It is. It's a game of chess.
And can you score an opportunity if you only get 3 or 4 in the game? Liverpool of all sides can obviously do that.
Of course.
Yeah. But I back City based on the last couple of results, the last sort of even the international break, a few players coming back from injury.
But even your form hasn't been like ours. Well, I'd say we've been in form, but defensively, I think going forward, it's been a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
I think even you guys. I think if De Bruyne isn't playing in the false 9, I think you struggle to break teams down at the moment. I think you are missing a killer up front. I think you are.
We're still on the highest scorers in European football. I think
you
we're
are
slightly behind, might be behind you, but I think we're either first or second in the Premier League for most goals scored. Without a striker.
But again, we're ahead of everyone else. We're not gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't hold us. This is our standards right now.
But we are talking about would a Haaland, for example, make this game against Liverpool easier for City?
100%.
I'm not 100% sure if that would be the case.
I think so.
Do you think? I think when De Bruyne drops in against Atletico Madrid, picks the ball up deep, flicks it to when Phil Foden's flicking balls into him, for example, we still haven't got that system yet where we are crossing the ball with confidence. I think if you've got Bernardo, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Phil Foden, and Grealish, at points all running off of your back line, that might actually be more of a complicated issue versus Van Dijk trying to hold off a Harry Kane if we'd signed.
It's a battle in the midfield. It is what you're saying. It's a battle in the midfield. The midfield wins this game.
At Liverpool's training ground Tuesday, going into or Wednesday after Benfica, whatever, ahead of the City game.
Yeah,
and have 6 or 7 academy players running at Van Dijk in the training ground session. There's no club in world football that does it like City. It's as simple as that. That's
true, but we've beaten you before.
Yeah, of course.
And I believe we're at this point. It's not like last season. I personally think last season is a write-off to us of some sorts because Let's be honest.
Write-off when we won the Premier League.
No. For a write-off as in like when you played us and when you battered us.
Yeah.
I think.
Why is that write-off?
Well, we didn't have any defenders.
Yeah, you still had a very expensive squad.
Come on. So
you had Salah, Mane all playing the game.
100% going forward.
Yeah.
But defensively,
it's not right.
You mentioned all these superstars in your team,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And imagine playing against Nat Phillips or Ozan Kabak.
Yeah, but that's still part of your squad, isn't it?
It's still part of our squad, but is it good enough? Is it good enough? It's not.
Yeah, but
it's not good enough.
Every player's got.
When you lost Laporte, we went and won the league.
When we lost, we had.
So you should know all about that then.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but we've had injuries before. We broke the most points in the history of English first division football with a left back who was Fabian Delph. Everyone gets injuries all the time in football. You know, you did well when you recovered and you won the league. You know, when we had the injury.
That's what I mean. Even though we won the league as comfortable as we do, I believe Laporte plays that season. We do not win the season as comfortable as we do.
That's interesting.
I don't because at that point, obviously Ruben Diaz isn't in the picture at this point, but Laporte was pivotal.
Of course,
pivotal, and not just because your defenders weren't good enough. You still had good enough defenders, but it's about partnerships.
Yep,
it's about partnerships.
Of course it is, yeah.
And at the time, Laporte was the pillar to that back line. He was
important.
So he just like in a way the Diaz Stones combination.
Yeah,
that's
I think,
in my opinion, your best combination. Not your best two centre backs.
Yeah.
But that was your best combination at one point.
I think you look at Klopp and Guardiola, what they asked for those players. I think winning the league 3 years in a row is a lot for City.
It's the standard you've set yourself.
You know, one big injury off, fine. I still think Fernandinho was a good stand-in. But then you're looking at Liverpool. I think actually, it sounds ridiculous, but you won the league with 97 points. It will win you the league every single season in the history of football, except Man City seasons. Yeah. You know, and you didn't win the league that season, so that built you up for the second season to go and win it. By that point, we'd already won the league before that, so it was on our third season. So there are ups and downs.
There are wobbles. I think a lot of people wrote us off this season. A lot of people wrote us off, especially when we were 14 points behind. But I personally, when we were 14 points behind, I'm not going to say I didn't stop believing, but there was still the deluded side of me who thought, well, it's 14 points, but we've got 2 games in hand.
Yeah,
so let's not.
Points,
yeah.
Wasn't it? Was it 3? Was it 3 games? Because I think
it was 2 games. So
it was actually 4 points, wasn't it? In terms of what City.
Seven.
We played more than you. 7.
Yeah, it was 7 points. So that's why when people do say 14 points, I tend to hold back a little bit because it's like, well, we did have our games in hand, and we've only lost 2 games in the league this season, 3 in all competitions if you really want to count the Inter Milan game. So we was most likely going to win those 2 games in hand anyway. So that's why, to me, the gap was probably around 7 points. And
just a little worse, didn't it?
Yeah, and one slip up maybe from you guys.
Yeah.
Again, Pep needs to start going back to his DM days at Barcelona because you got to check his shoulder because we're here now. You know what I mean? That's what it is. We're here. And I just feel like we're definitely going to take the game to. I think Trent's going to be the difference, in my opinion.
In what way?
Long
ball football. Whipping the ball. What do you want from him? What's he going to do?
Well, he's basically De Bruyne as a right back. Let's be honest.
Is he?
So we're not going to do that. He's De Bruyne as a right back. Do you reckon? Oh, well, okay. Do you reckon?
Well, imitation's a cheap form of flattery, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, he's nowhere near De Bruyne in terms of. We've got to be real. If Trent played in midfield, you can't call him De Bruyne.
No. I'm not calling him De Bruyne. I'm saying as a passer.
Left back. I mean, anyone can do anything. So Trent's world class. I'm not saying he's not world class, but
the distribution
maker. I'd be gutted as a City fan if we lose the game. Trent's the difference maker as a right back. I would be gutted.
We'd be one of many because he's the difference maker a lot of the time.
Of course,
he's been denying that. Yeah, for
a big game like
he's taken down many a giant club. So I don't know. So you're saying distribution wise, Trent is not on De Bruyne's level. Because that's the point I was making. Not as a player, because Trent, I wouldn't want Trent.
No, because you've got to have it with the caveat that anyone playing at right back has an extra 5-10 yards of space. You know, I could give you the ball and put you right at the back of the room. You have so much time before anyone presses you. You could do anything. Anyone's David Beckham when they got 20 minutes of time. I
don't think anyone's Trent Alexander.
No, but
I really don't.
The thing is with Trent is I think he's a world class talent.
Revolutionized right back position.
He hasn't revolutionized.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not the best. I'm not saying he's the best world's ever seen.
No.
I'm saying he's redefined that position himself.
Yeah, modern football for sure. And he might go down as one of the best of all time. He might, like an Ashley Cole type.
Time will tell.
All I'm trying to say is that I think De Bruyne does it in midfield when you've got a split second. We've not seen it from Trent, and I think Guardiola would be disappointed.
Oh, you haven't seen it from Trent when he has a split second?
In midfield.
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to say. In midfield, he's definitely not done it in midfield. It remains to be seen.
I don't think he needs to. Me personally, I'm part of the keep him at right back trade.
Good. That's interesting.
That's the way I think it needs to be.
Yeah.
I just think that we're crossing the ball confidently. I think a little less so from Robbo this season than he usually would be.
Of course,
but we're crossing the ball confidently, and I think that is where we will hurt you. I think if I personally, we can't start Jota against you guys. That is, I'm adamant that Jota cannot start.
What you don't fancy him as a sort of what? To make a difference.
9 in terms of, listen, he's a brilliant goal scorer. I think if he adds build-up play to his game, he becomes a top-tier player. But for me, his build-up play isn't good enough.
No, it's not.
I've always said this.
No,
the ball bounces off him too much. I said this before. People kind of got onto me for alluding to Jota's deficiencies.
They got onto you on Twitter and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
just mute, mate. If you tweet, just mute. Mute
yeah,
the tweet.
I'm learning.
Don't worry about it, and don't check your DMs.
Yeah,
don't check your DMs.
To be fair, yeah, it depends in it. Like, I don't really mind, but do you know what it is? I think with Diogo Jota, he's in front of goal again. We know what he's doing this season, but against City, will he get in that position? Will we give him a chance to get in that position? And if we do, there's not going to be many opportunities. And I think the same is for you. This is going to be a game where you take your chance, you probably win the game.
Of course.
Unless VAR wants to intrude and just ruin the game. But apart from that,
that's how good you are. I think what I saw, especially in Milan, I watched that game intently, and wow, what a performance against the Italian champions in the San Siro. That is no mean feat. And we talk about Arsenal back in the day, Thierry Henry.
Do you think AC in the group stages or Inter?
Sorry, Inter Milan in the knockouts, in the previous round, when we talk about that sort of Thierry Henry going to the Bernabeu, for example, years ago, those big English away performances.
Yeah, exactly.
And people aren't talking about that Liverpool performance as interesting as I thought it was.
Because we didn't play that well, but
it didn't look
still in control.
Yeah,
we were in control. Like, even though they thought they were getting in behind, and then Van Dijk just pops up, and then players just suddenly veer away from the goal. I saw it. Like, I still generally think, call me crazy, Lautaro Martinez's screamer was a scared shot. I think that's a snapshot, because every time he ran at Van Dijk, every time he ran at Van Dijk, he literally ran the other way.
Yeah, he
ran the other way. Personally, I think sometimes with Van Dijk, it's more fear factor when defenders don't tackle. Like, I think you can get at Van Dijk from time to time, but I think you have to go at Van Dijk with the confidence that you're going to get past him. I think a lot of defenders go, you kind of look at him and go, it's that. And when you're an elite defender, I think that's what it is at times.
Yeah. What's your ideal starting lineup then?
Ideal. I'm gonna probably go with Ali in goal, Matip and Verge as the 2 centre backs.
Cool. Yeah.
Trent, Robbo.
Yeah.
Wing backs. I'm gonna go Fab CDM. Hendo right centre mid to give Trent that cover. Thiago left centre mid. And I'm going to go with the OG front 3, because I think that's what we need against a team who, again, is going to take the game to us, is going to try and keep the ball against us. I want Bobby Firmino in transition.
Dropping deep.
Coming and receiving that ball and setting off Salah and Mane. Yeah. I'm not sure whether to go with Diaz or Mane on the left, especially because how good he was. I think Diaz has really come in and he looks a good player.
Special player.
I mean, he got a good goal against you guys, even though you batted him after that, but he got a good goal. Against the champs. Yeah. So I think on merit, Mane probably gets it.
Yeah, you can't not, can you?
You can't not. He also scored his goal, but I think Diaz, a lot of the time, he's your way out, man. He gets out of situations. I think Mane slowed down a little bit now. So Mane used to have that way. He just gets out of any situation, bounces off you, really robust. I see that in Diaz now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I think you just can't not start Mane. I think Diaz comes off the bench with more hunger.
Does that excite you, that lineup?
What
does it excite you? Does that make you want to watch football?
Of course it does. Why not? Of course it does.
It's boring about
I'm not Chelsea. I'm not Chelsea.
No, but I'm not saying Chelsea are exciting, but there's
Chelsea are what?
I'm not saying Chelsea are exciting.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying that Liverpool is that thrilling to you, that lineup?
Of course.
Do you get gas watching that?
Not
the wings.
I love.
Do you get gas? Does it make you want to play football in the street?
Yeah. Do you think we play long ball or something?
I think you're a little bit ugly, a little bit functional. No disrespect. You're successful at doing that.
If you're a functional team,
just
say so. If you don't watch Liverpool, just say.
Oh, of course I watch you. I watch you every week.
Because I watch City every week.
And that's but neutrals want to, because we're the way we play is beautiful. But I'm just saying, my only criticism of Liverpool, I think you're one of the best sides England's ever seen. I really mean that. I really mean that. The standard, but the way you do it, for me, is so dry.
Dry.
Do you not think it's dry?
No, Chelsea is dry.
But compare that to Torres Gerrard, that little combo you used to have, or back in the day,
or Suarez, Sturridge.
You're
saying that we don't have
pace and energy up front. I know that Salah's obviously a world-class player, one of the best players in the world, but I'm just interested as a Liverpool fan. Boring, isn't it? It's a bit boring. No, I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
So what you're telling me is Liverpool is boring. So when Thiago drops his shoulder, fizzes a ball in between three defenders, Salah, you saw what Salah's done.
Some nice moments. I'm not saying it's not some nice moments.
Because we're not a moments football team. Because Jota has how many goals? Mane has how many goals? Salah has how many goals? We're the highest. How can you call the highest scoring team in England boring?
I just think the goals you score is a little bit,
and we've been better than you defensively as well. So how again?
Of course, but there's a way of doing things. I'm not talking about the result.
It's your way of doing things though. Just again, I'm not going to argue that you guys play the most attractive football. I'm not going to. That's not something.
I'm just interested in your opinion.
But in my opinion, I think we play brilliant football.
That's fair enough.
We keep the ball. We swing it from left to right. We get the ball into the fullbacks. We swing in loads of crosses. We also go through the middle as a false nine. Less so now that Firmino isn't as much as involved. But again, I think. This is the first time we've ever had depth. This is the first time we've actually had an excited squad in a long time.
Yeah, you got depth.
Because we've always had the 11.
Yeah, you got 11.
Said, if you want to go and beat Man City, we need the 11. Otherwise, one person drops out. You saw when Trent didn't play, Foden destroyed him.
Yeah, of course.
These things happen. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, when we've had our 11, you get the games at Anfield where we made you guys look very, very ordinary at times.
When was that?
1920.
So what, 4 years ago? 4 years ago?
No, when we won the league at Anfield. As I said, last season with the injuries, I'm not really going to go into it too much. It was 0-0, even though it was I think we drew at Anfield the time before that.
Yeah, 0-0.
Dry game. But again, at Anfield before that, you could say in the Champions League when we had the 11.
Of course,
I'm talking about times where when we've had that 11 and we're really going for it, I feel like you guys, it disrupts your flow. It disrupts your...
I'm not saying you don't. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't.
That's what I mean.
I'm just interested in, as a football fan, do you think, does it bring joy to you?
It does, 100%. I just think you're looking from a very biased perspective. And that's fine. Because as a Liverpool fan, I can stand up here and say, listen, Man City play the most attractive football in the league. I'm not going to lie to you. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, they don't have a killer up top, which is why you guys are where you are, not...
Well, above you in the Premier League?
Well, what, by 1 point. By 1 point, and we're going
at 1 point is one of the Premier League against you a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, you're doing the whole.
I'm just intrigued.
It's fine.
I'm just intrigued if you and it's not a gas thing to say because I think you look at even that Torres Gerrard side and all that. I don't know. It's a very functional team, and I think Guardiola and Klopp are the two best managers in world football.
I think that's disrespectful.
But you're functional. So you function successfully. You win a League Cup against Chelsea. That's no mean feat.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea are boring as well. I think you and Chelsea are major boring teams.
You think Liverpool are on the same scale as Chelsea?
Yeah, you're similar, obviously, because they're Champions League winners. They're currently in the Champions League.
Look how high our line is. You play the most robust football in the league. When I say robust, it's literally heavy.
Robust, exactly.
It's literally high line pressing with similar to what you guys do at times. We're literally caving and holding teams in their own half.
Yeah. And I just think we both do it in different ways.
Look at how dangerously we press when we play. Yeah. It's not as dangerous as a 2017 press because that press was just outscore the team. Press if they beat the press.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's a more controlled press. But we press better than anyone in the league. Yeah. So how can you say it's boring?
I personally think you're boring.
Do you think Mahrez is better than Salah? Because this is what I'm trying to. I just want to throw.
Well, no, I've done it. I did a podcast the other day saying about it's something for me. I think Mahrez is more of a kind of more artistry about him. I think Salah again is more of a kind of there's a mechanical element to Salah.
What is that? What do you mean by mechanical?
It's kind of sort of that he goes through the gears. He sort of does the same thing over and over again. He's a very fit player. I think for me, Mahrez is more skillful, more elegant on the eye. Obviously, Salah's more successful as a player. He's at a higher level than Mahrez.
They're not in the same galaxy. I'm gonna be honest.
No, of course not. But again, that's down to the kind of functionality of Salah. It's just interesting. I think Mahrez for me brings more.
Mahrez is more technical. I'd say.
Yeah,
Mahrez is more technical. And I think I'm not going to say not technical. Mahrez is just an elite technical player. Right. I just think when it comes to Salah, I think he does get discredited too much. Like personally, I actually wanted to know your opinion on Salah more, just in a little bit more detail because, I just feel like for me, he's gone through a harder patch now. We all know he's going through a harder patch at this moment in time.
Every top player does it.
And I think people are looking into that, and I think this is the game where I personally think it's going to change. If it doesn't, we keep moving on.
The goal he scored against us.
And he hadn't really done much in the game.
No.
Before that, it was you blinked and.
But I'll be honest with you. I think thinking about the times, even when I was younger, obviously before the takeover at City, where I could actually objectively look at other players, and there was no kind of rivalry because City were mid-table, and I could look at Fernando Torres at Liverpool, and there was no. It's not like City were competing with Liverpool to win the Premier League at that point.
Yeah, of course.
I think the fact that Salah is one of the best players in the world is actually a slight on football because I think 10, 15 years ago he wouldn't have been anywhere near. He wouldn't have been very interesting for the general football public. Kaká, Ronaldinho, Wayne Rooney, Thierry Henry, Zidane, all these players, 15, 20 years ago. Salah, for me, the fact that he is maybe the best player in the world at the moment, I think he's better than Mbappe, in my opinion. I'd take him over Mbappe right now. I think he's probably the best player in the world, right?
I think it's between him and Benzema. But
But exactly. So, but as a total forward, I think Salah probably takes the ball better than Benzema. Maybe not as good a finisher, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's at the top, the pinnacle of football's in a poor state, and we're in a bit of a sort of, you know,
really
canyon of, you know, we're sort of falling off a cliff a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And we need a good 5-10 years from a couple of Brazilian players to come through, some real talent. You know, Neymar didn't take the mantle on. What's that?
Neymar.
Neymar's nowhere near, is he? Of course he's not. But, you know, it's Mbappe, Haaland. Those players need to grow up a little bit and get to maturity.
So you think it's almost a disrespect to football that Mo Salah is in the best, well, arguably the best player in the world? That's what you're trying to say.
just think that when I was a kid loving football, when I was a lot younger, and you could watch Ronaldinho one night, and then Zidane in a different league the other night. You could watch Wayne Rooney in the Premier League with Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, all these players, right?
Yeah,
and then now that
Mo Salah's an inside forward, though.
Oh yeah, I'm not comparing them positions.
No, I know, but I'm saying so
he doesn't bring joy to the game. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think he doesn't bring joy to your game. I think Salah's given me some of the most exciting moments as a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, as a Liverpool
obviously,
fan.
For me, it will go back to the Gerrard moments. For me personally, the Gerrard moments, you can't beat them.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? And even you could say a few of the Suarez and Sturridge moments, the Gerrard Torres moments. There's moments.
Of course.
But Salah's right up there.
Of course, I'm not saying he's not.
I'm not as a player. I'm saying in terms of moments and as a player.
Yeah.
There's no one that's been this consistent for Liverpool.
I'm not saying he's not.
And his consistency and what he brings to Liverpool. And I understand that people want to throw he's a system player. Oh, he's this, he's that. He gets so many chances. The system allows him to flourish. Salah made the system.
Yeah.
Well, you could say Mane a little bit before when you come in.
Yeah.
But for me, Salah is what made the system here.
Yeah, of course. But I've not denied that.
I know, but I think I think, again, I'm sure you're more one of those eye test guys where it's like, you know, you want to visually enjoy your footballers. As I said, elegance of your football. You've spoken about your playing the game, the way City play their game, the tiki-taka, the passing, the recycling, the transition, all that stuff. That's your ideal version of football. Growing up, you said Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Zidane, Iniesta, Xavi,
flair, you know,
all these players, of course. Certain players get the job done and they don't need those attributes. Yeah. So I think that's why to say football's in a bad state is a bit unfair because, it's very unfair.
Well, it is, because in 20 years ago, Salah wouldn't have been top 20 players in the world. He wouldn't have been of interest to anyone.
Why not? Because look at the way Robin was tearing up. He was a one-trick pony.
Yeah, that's true. But then I don't think Robin was top 20 either, was he, in his prime? I don't think he was. Come on. I don't think. I'm talking about Kaká. I'm talking about Ronaldinho, players that
how long was Kaká in his prime for? Really?
Oh, no, come on.
How long was he in his prime for? How long?
6-7 years. Won a Ballon d'Or, won a World Cup, Champions League.
All right.
One of the best of all time.
Riddled with injuries for me, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, we're going to have to move back to Liverpool. You can't respect Kaká, you don't understand football.
It's not that. I'm not saying I don't respect Kaká, but I'm just saying that I think the other players you mentioned is a bit higher echelon for me personally than Kaká. Honestly, again, an enjoyable player to watch. Yeah. Top player, but I don't know. I think if we're talking about consistency with Salah as well, I'm not saying he's Ronaldinho. I'm not saying he's
no. Of course, I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm just saying the style of play. Football's evolved.
This is what, football has changed.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfair for that because Salah is doing what he needs to do to become the best player in the world in this state of football.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't blame him.
What do you want him to do? Turn into?
I don't want him to be but I don't want him to turn into anything because he's not the guy. He's not the guy. It's as simple as that.
That's not the.
He is who he is, and he's very good at what he does.
Those aren't his attributes. Yeah. And when you're very good at what you do, you deserve those titles. And
I'm not saying he doesn't.
Let's be honest. I want to ask you a question that what is it about football that you think is not as good as it was 10, 15 years ago?
I just think there's a lack of star names. You look at that Brazil squad, like I know Neymar's in there, but he's nowhere near the level that Ronaldinho was in 2002 when he won a World Cup.
Yeah, of course.
I just think sometimes football, sometimes sport, you look at tennis, for example, you know, there was 4 top players in tennis for years and years and years. As they get older, there's going to be a dearth of players, and then eventually there'll be the new crop. And I'm not saying in 10 years, there isn't some guy for Liverpool, guy for City. Yeah. He's a Brazilian kind of flair player, and we're back to Ronaldinho. All I'm saying is, you know, we are in an era of football where it's all about the philosophy, and Klopp's philosophy is the best philosophy in world football behind Guardiola, in my opinion, in terms of anyone could go in there and he could coach the life out of them.
Guardiola has the blueprint, but I do believe he's a little bit of a step ahead of
Yeah. But we're both a step ahead of everyone else. You know, we're both a step ahead of everyone else. That's why the world of football will be watching us to see technically where we both are. Because it's a very interesting game.
I'd love to see one day if they swap places. And obviously not for them to swap places, but how they would deal with a system.
Yeah.
You know, one without money, one with everything.
That's a very interesting point.
But I don't know. That's an if that's a maybe throwaway comment. But yeah, I don't know. I understand that football has evolved, but I look at some of the players in the past, and you look at some of the players today, and the way the system is set up, and the way teams sit so deep. And let's be honest, that's all we play against these days. Teams sit deep against my team and your team, and you're having to swing the ball left and right and do what you have to do to break them down. That's true. And it's been like that for I'd say a while now, since as long as you guys have been on the top as well.
Of course.
For a while now. I think 10, 15 years ago, teams will come at you. The lower teams, they've come at you.
That's true.
And you know, and sometimes I do look at some of the defending back in the day, I go, oh, yeah. I'm not saying the defending in today's age is riddled with quality. We have quality defenders. I think the defenders of the old days are individually better, but the systems are harder to break down these days, in my opinion.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's true.
I think certain teams were just ahead of their time in the past. So i.e. the Man United, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, you know, they were ahead of time when it comes to certain systems in defending. And I think the rest of the small teams would go at you. Yeah. Especially in La Liga. Teams about 16th, 17th, they're going at Real Madrid. They're going at you. And that's why, you know, so that's why I feel like some of the players did have that opportunity to shine a bit brighter. I think now when I see Bernardo Silva play, when Bernardo first moved to City, teams weren't really sitting back against him. They gave him the chance to run it and see what you got. And he was basically player of the year. Player of the year when you got 99 points.
100 points,
And then, like Salah, people just, again,
low blocks again. You figure them out.
Low blocks again. So for me, when players get figured out and they still do what they need to do.
But is that what you'd be a bit worried about, is looking back at Klopp's career at Liverpool, whenever it ends? It could end in 5 years, it could end in 2 years, whatever. 2 years. Do you worry and think he didn't win enough quantity-wise? He's won the best league in the world. I think the Premier League's the best league. He's won the Champions League. I can't sit there and talk about the Champions League as a City fan, of course not. But do you think, he should have won 3 Premier Leagues, he should have won 2 FA Cups, he should have won more?
No, because this
only just won your first League Cup in 7 years.
This is not Liverpool's era. This is Man City's era. So and again, people might say this is a lack of ambition. City is arguably one of the best sides the Premier League has ever seen. So to go head to head, to come above, to still have some sort of European success in that as well.
Incredible.
I think he's done a brilliant job. I think, could we have 1 or 2 more trophies to show for it? Looking back at it, probably. But looking at it from now, I say we're still going to challenge, even if it's 1 or 2 years. We're still going to challenge. We're challenging now. You're on for a treble. I could be on for a quad. Do you know what I mean? Jurgen quad. Hashtag it. Get it out there. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, it's unbelievable.
I think in terms of Premier Leagues, I think in terms of Klopp and Guardiola, I think you guys on 3, we're on 1. If we do pinch you, it's 3-2. Next year, it depends who signs. Who signs. Amazing. I think it's harsh to say that with Klopp because he's been very limited with signings. The season we won the league, we signed Van den Berg and Minamino in January.
Yeah, obviously 150 million on a centre-back keeper, but 150 million on a keeper.
That was the season before that. But we had to sell Coutinho to do that.
Yeah, of course. So you've still got a very expensive.
We do have an expensive squad, but we couldn't just throw 150 million out there.
No, you're right.
We didn't spend 100. We didn't spend 100 million this season and get worse. No names. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So again,
he's done an amazing job.
So that's why I say, you look at our back line as well. Of course, you got the Alisson and Van Dijk who are pivotal, but Matip's free. Matip wasn't free. Trent cost nothing. Of course,
Gomez was cheap.
Gomez, nothing. He was Rodgers' era.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Made him a better.
Look at Robert, 8 mil.
Unbelievable.
You know what I'm saying? I think Fab was a expensive signing. Even Thiago, because of his age, didn't really cost much. Salah, 40 mil. Yeah. Salah wasn't supposed to be the best player in the world.
No.
Mane wasn't supposed to be a world-class player. Do you know what I mean?
Klopp's taken them.
They've 100%. Been taken to this level.
100%.
And I think when these lot are on it, because we're gonna have to be.
Yeah.
We're taking the game to you.
Yeah, sure.
I wanna get just to one more argument before I wanna ask your lineup. Trent and Cancelo, they've been the best wing backs this season.
Yeah. Who do I prefer? I prefer Cancelo. I think he's better off the ball. He's a better defender. I think he's better defensively.
I think you don't have too much defending to do because you keep the ball.
Yeah, but I think when Trent gets properly attacked, he gets ripped at points, and I don't think Cancelo does.
That's a myth. You know, did you know Cancelo's been dribble past more than Trent this season?
Yeah, I don't look at stats like that. I don't
gathered that. But if someone
need to hold on to stats.
You said when Trent gets dribbled at, he gets ripped, but Cancelo's been.
Well, I'm not talking about dribbles particularly. I'm talking about any other aspects of football. You know, we can talk about any aspect. In my opinion, there have been moments where he gets isolated to a worse extent than Cancelo. I think Cancelo actually plays at left back. I don't think Trent can play at left back anywhere near Cancelo can. They're both right-footed.
Cancelo has feet better than Trent. I'm not disputing that. I think Trent is a better right back. I think Cancelo is probably a more rounded footballer.
Yeah.
But I think Trent is more. Again, it's like. Because Trent doesn't play like a right back. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course,
but he still has good right back feet, and
they're both exceptional.
They're both
simple as that.
Off this planet. You know what I mean? I think that's the silver lining. You're gonna say you're gonna go for Cancelo. You're gonna go for your boy. I'm gonna go for Trent. I think Trent is obviously. I don't really need to say it really. Do you know what I mean?
Best in the world, you think?
Yeah, 100%. In my team in the season, I had Cancelo left back, Trent right back.
And that'd be fair. That would be fair, John.
I had it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's it. I think the silver lining between the both of us is just that we can disagree all we want, but the level is up here.
Oh, it's exceptional.
And it's either like this or it's either.
I think that's why we're ultimately the biggest debate we've had today is ultimately talking about, do you think Liverpool are boring or not? Because it doesn't matter. You're successful. United fans watched. They've watched 13 Premier League titles. I think you could say 8 or 9 of those Man United sides were boring as anything. I really do think that. In the league, I really do think that. The side with Berbatov, Ronaldo, that was exciting.
Yeah.
The sides that won it early.
Tevez route, that was
boring
exciting.
Man United sides, but United fans don't care.
Even as a Liverpool fan,
I really think that.
Boring to stretch.
I think there's a few, maybe 6 or 7 out of 13 boring United.
That's disingenuous.
I really think that. No, not disingenuous. I genuinely believe it. You might not agree, but I think United are boring back in the day, and they were boring to watch. But their fans don't care. They want a treble, the first English treble of all time.
Yeah, ultimately, when you win, you don't care.
Exactly. So we're talking about stars as if it matters. It's like, do you like Marvel or DC movies?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because they're both, sometimes they're good.
Marvel's, but yeah.
You prefer Marvel, do you?
I prefer Marvel. I think DC got some blockbusters. Brilliant.
Oh, banging coming out the Batman and all that. Jesus.
Zack Snyder's remake was good at the Justice League.
But I'll talk about our lineup because I think it's very interesting. Because I think actually yours is more of a I knew what you were going to say. And that's because it's that 11 that just get the job done. With City, there's a few options in there that can actually change the game massively, whether we beat you comfortably or we get annihilated, which could happen on the weekend. Obviously, Ederson in goal. I think Kyle Walker at right back, massive.
You're going to bring him back in because he hasn't been in too often.
No, he's been a little bit out of favour. I think Guardiola absolutely hated him for getting that red card against Leipzig. But you've got to bring him in for pace. And then you keep Cancelo on the left, cutting on his right, and cause you some major issues that it's hard to defend against Cancelo when he's whipping balls on his right. Hopefully we can do that. I think Laporte and John Stones, unbelievable coming out from the back.
Diaz a big miss for you?
He is, especially against your front three. But I think Stones and Laporte, actually, City fans and a lot of other football fans won't remember that before Diaz came in, we were trying to make it Stones and Diaz for seasons. And every season, one of them would get a major injury.
That was a ridiculous duo.
So it would be Laporte and Fernandinho, or be Stones and Otamendi. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? So, but for me, the best midfield that we've got is Rodri, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva. I think that's the best midfield three we've got because it's balanced. It works hard.
A lot of people say De Bruyne, and I think he needs to go full nine for you lot to really do damage.
And that's why I'm putting him. I put him there. And then I think Phil Foden would do a lot of damage against Trent. He obviously scored an unbelievable goal at Anfield on his left foot. I'd love Jack Grealish to fit in. I don't think he does fit in because he has to play all his midfielders instead of him. And then on the right you put Riyad Mahrez, but you could see Raheem Sterling on the right.
On the left, who'd you put on the left?
Phil Foden on the left.
Okay. But he's not playing against Milner this time.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wish he was, but the big thing for me is the lack of pace. There's going to be a lack of pace in that City squad.
I was going to say there's not a lot of. You haven't gone for Sterling. I thought you would have gone for Sterling. I know Sterling usually pulls off stinkers against Liverpool.
No, he does.
Obviously, the last time he done well, but I think he doesn't really play too well against us.
We wouldn't have scored against Atletico Madrid if he'd stayed on the pitch, and because he came off the pitch, we scored a goal. It's as simple as that. Don't back him in big games. I think he'll get us to the Premier League title if he keeps playing. He ripped up Burnley. He's an elite winger. But he's not. There's something missing in his game. Where I should be able to say about Raheem Sterling, we'll give him the ball against Liverpool, and he'll do something special, and he'll score one against you.
I think
I should be able to say that, and I can't say
he's
that.
A City legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
I think he'll go down as a City legend.
And
without him, he's done, some of the stuff he's done, like,
but his ceiling is so much higher than what he's achieved, in my opinion. That we're looking at, for example, you could be struggling on the weekend. Salah, you can give the ball Salah as a in your gut as a Liverpool fan. You say, I think he's going to. I believe he'll do something special. He'll take a touch out of his feet and he'll whip one in. Right? You can say that about Mane. You can say load of Liverpool players. With Raheem Sterling, he's not. He's going to mistouch it. He's going to run it into the corner. He's going to misplace a pass.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's times you just can't get the ball from him, can you?
He's
low center of gravity.
He's such a fantastic player.
He's probably one of the most foul players when he really gets going. So that's the thing. I generally think, unfortunately, I hate to say this, I think VAR is going to play a part in the game. I don't want it to. It always does.
It always does.
But I think VAR's at some point, someone's either going to be this much offside, or it's going to hit someone's arm.
Yeah.
Someone might get away with it. Yeah. Some might be guilty of it. I don't know. I hope, I'm alluding to, but I hope it doesn't come down to that. I just feel like you've gone for a lot of midfielders. I would have gone for your same team, but just with Sterling there
instead of who?
Foden.
Right.
I would have just gone for Sterling there, just for pace, because our back line's quite pacey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's very pacey. So,
we're not going to get past you without a bit of pace.
Well, again, it's not about getting past us. It's about, again, keeping the ball in a half. That's the way you're going to have to play. If you play that many midfielders, you have to play the ball. You have to play football in a half.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's good. I think it's going to be cagey. First 35 minutes,
nervous.
It's going to be cagey. I don't think we're going to start off the balls in your half.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. It's going to be very, very cagey. I think the first goal wins it, personally.
Yeah, it could be 1-0, could be 0-0.
But usually, whenever someone scores, someone goes up at the other end and scores.
Yeah.
You guys get the first goal. We went and Salah goes and scores.
Yeah.
Mane goes and scores.
Yeah.
De Bruyne goes and scores.
Exactly.
It was like this.
100%. What's your score prediction then?
I'm gonna back the lads. I'm gonna go 2-1 because I can't see us keeping the clean sheet. I can't. No. I think I'm gonna go 2-1, but I'm not talking about the 2-1 where you go 2 goals up, you get a goal back, and we held. I think generally, you guys might score first.
Yeah, I think we'll beat you 3-0.
3-0.
I think we'll beat 3-0.
3-0.
Seriously, I think we've got
too much power. You've got too much firepower. Too much firepower. We're
cut above.
Cut above, but
honestly,
you're not. You're 1 point above. You're not a cut above us. And in terms of going into this game, I feel like this is a derby. This feels like a derby.
Of course it is, yeah.
It's not a derby, but
it's a sporting rivalry.
Sporting rivalry. That's the way to put it. And I think the form just goes out the window. It does.
Of course.
Oh, it's cracking bear. I think it just goes out. It just goes out the window right now. And the way I see it, I just can't see us crumbling. I can't see it. And
that's fair. And that's right. That's justified.
I'm not going to write off. I'm not writing off that, this is a Liverpool dub. Because again, you can't ignore that we haven't beaten you under Guardiola at the Etihad. But at the same time, this is the time. We've stepped up this year. All of these, I think, form-wise, we've probably won the last 10 games, I believe.
Something like that.
Our form is 100%. Unbelievable. But I think at the same time, City is City. Personally, Chelsea is the worst team to play for me, rather than you guys, because you actually play against us.
Yeah, of course. You've always got space. Yeah.
But
I think if we play our way, we'll beat you comfortably.
But it's about us not letting you play your way. Of course. And we disrupt you, which I think we will disrupt you.
Yeah.
And you let Thiago get on the ball, and Fab, cuts off the ball to De Bruyne. I think Fabinho is going to be the key. 100%. Fabinho's on his. If Fabinho is on his game, I'll say what I say to Shoops. If Fabinho is at 70%, not 50%, 60%, that's against Arsenal. So if Fabinho's at 75%, and he does, shut the door and he cuts the passing lanes, I think you guys struggle to deal with our transition.
That's true.
Because with Rodri, I think Rodri, when you guys are in possession, Rodri's the best CDM in the world. But I think when Rodri is having to do more off the ball, I think Fabinho then becomes
100%
the best defensive mid in the world.
And
I don't think that's a stretch to say that.
No, 100%. Yeah, I'm gassed, mate. I'm very excited for it.
I'm excited for the title.
For the title.
Who do you think? Okay, I've got a question. Trophy-wise, what do you guys walk away with this season?
I think we could win the treble this season. I think we could win the treble this season. I think we'll win the Premier League. I'd like us to win the Premier League.
No, you want the champs.
I do. I'd love us to win the Premier League.
You want the champs.
I don't want the champs. I want the Premier League first. I want the Premier League first, and then we're there. You
pardon?
Premier League first, and then it's your bread and butter. It's 38 games.
You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're telling me you don't want the champs.
I do want the champs.
You know how badly I wanted that Premier League. Do you know how badly I wanted that Premier League?
Yeah, cool. That's good for you. Yeah, I won it in 30 years.
Exactly. You haven't won.
Some clubs are different. Not all clubs are European clubs, and City have never won a European Cup. We don't particularly like UEFA.
I think this is the era where you can do it though.
Oh yeah, we should be doing it. We should be winning Champions League at some point. I think the Premier League is the highest standard of understanding where you are as a football club. You win 38 games, you win most of the 38 games. That is a higher standard than winning, fluky in Atletico Madrid or knocking out Benfica here and there.
I mean, you can't really allude to our Champions League. Chelsea's one, I understand it at times, but ours.
No, you deserved it as well. So look, I think Premier League for me, I think we beat you on the weekend, and we're in a comfortable position. 4 points can be a little bit easier against Atletico Madrid in Madrid. The FA Cup semi-final will be a big one as well. But I'm comfortable if we play our way, we'll keep the ball and we'll create some chances, and that's how football should be played, in my opinion. So yeah.
Do you think you're winning the treble? Yes or no?
I think you've got a good chance.
Are you winning the treble?
Probably not.
But it's possible.
But I think it's more than possible.
Same with me with the quad. As I say, Jurgen quad, get a trending. Get a trending, people. But as much as we're challenging for the quad, you are in my way. You're in my way. I think if City aren't in the equation, I start thinking we're doing the 4 piece. We're winning the quad.
You're the best side in the world, except City.
But semi-final is a big game. I think whoever wins, I think the semi-final is the final.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup.
Yeah, you're right.
Smug of us, but semi-final is the final. I think with the Champions League, I think we still have to get past Bayern Munich. I reckon we should probably beat Benfica, but it's the Bayern Munich game.
Yeah.
And obviously you guys are on the other side of the draw. Bit difficult, but I think
tough. Yeah.
And then the league's the league. It's a head-to-head. We'll be battling it out. So I think we can win the quad.
Yeah.
I think if we carry on playing the way we're playing, I think we should win at least 3 this year. Well, 2 of the 3 that are left, let's just say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, League Cup's nice to sort of put it in there.
Yeah. So I think maybe one of them we might. To be fair, listen, if you lot were to win the Champions League and we win the league and we go and win the FA Cup, as much as I don't want you lot to have any European heritage, we have 6 of those. You can have 1. Just like how when you had 5 Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
So when you had 4 Premier Leagues, I'm pretty sure when we won the league, you're like, well, they can have 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that means we go and win the Champions League and FA Cup and the Carling Cup,
it's not bad at all.
It's
beautiful.
Certain teams ain't won for a while. So,
Exactly.
So, I think there's so much to play for, and the stakes have never been how it's been. And I can't really come up here today and just move disrespectful and cocky, because I'm coming up against a team who I think is generally neck and neck. I think we're generally tied, the best 2 teams. I think at the moment, in form, I think we're in better form.
You're better in form, yeah.
But I think it's the 2 giants. It's the English El Clasico. It's the English El Clasico right now.
So you're going 2-1.
I'm
going 3-0.
2-1, 3-0.
I think we're there.
3-0, people. 3-0.
Gas.
Crazy. That's
nice
crazy.
One.
But listen.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Nice one.
Good luck.
Good luck.